Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name's Dave Abkary and I am a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a podcast where I sit down with my fellow funny friends, my fellow comedians, and we talk about dads. Hi, how are you? How's your week been? Man, just got back, a few days ago, got back from the Savage Henry Comedy Festival up in Eureka. That was a lot of fun. It was like a weird Sad Dad reunion. I had way more friends there than I was expecting. Like a bunch of previous Sad Dad guests, Marcus Peverell, you guys love that guy. Brandy Posey was there, Saul Trujillo, and it was a lot of fun, man. Went up there with my buddies Danny Minch and Tom Smith and Isaiah Washington, he's a real funny young comic in our scene, and Isaiah and Tom didn't have spots on the festival, and because we were doing a couple of shows on our way up there, and they were along for the ride for those, but talked to the guy that runs Savage Henry's, both the comedy club and the festival. Wonderful human being named Chris Durant, and very kindly gave Isaiah and Tom some spots on the festival, which was really cool of him. He did not have to do that, but he's so nice, and he trusted me. I was like, these guys are funny. I book them on my shows, and he was like, hey, I trust you, Dave. I was like, man, what a cool fucking dude. So yeah, that was a blast. I mean, it's a long drive, 8 hours there, and I ended up doing the drive by myself. We had to take 2 cars because the festival happens all over the city, and we were all booked on different spots all over town. So just needed some extra like mobility. But making that drive by myself, I thought it was going to be boring. It was kind of nice. It was kind of nice. Sometimes you get out of a car ride with like a bunch of friends, and you've been talking the whole time, and you're like always on, and then you kind of get out of the car and you're like more drained than you realize, just because you've just been investing so much energy into conversation. But no, it was a good, pretty uneventful drive. I saw a car on fire. That was pretty cool. That was neat. Good old Oakland always delivers, man. There was no EMS on the scene or anything. It was just a dude in his burning car. Oh man, had to just as comedians, you want to have a tape, to send to bookers if you're trying to get on their show. And I hadn't like done a tape, like a recent, with any of my like newest material. I hadn't done one in a while, and I had to do one last night. I didn't have to, I wanted to, and man, it turned out good. I was so stoked. I was listening back to it today, and if you're a comedian, sometimes it's like lightning in a bottle. You kind of have to catch it. You got to get you have to have a good set yourself. You have to you want to have like a hot audience. You don't want to like bomb your tape. And then you got to hope that nobody like bumps your camera or stands in front of your camera or because that happens all the time too. It's like you just fucking murder, and then you go back to look at your fucking video and somebody's standing in front of your fucking phone the entire time. Ugh. So yeah, managed to get that done last night. It's a huge relief. Ugh. Some exciting news for you guys. I've mentioned it on this podcast before, but I've been working on a little side project, a podcast called Shrink This with a real fun friend of mine, Erin Callahan. She's not a comedian. She is a couples and marriage therapist. She has her own private practice and all of that, and we've been working on a therapy-based podcast. It's sort of a cross between therapy and comedy, and Erin's super fun, and that is out now. I just checked. It is up on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, it's called Shrink This. And it just got approved for iTunes last night. It should be up hopefully by the time you guys listen to this. If not, hopefully something catastrophic hasn't gone on with the approval process. So, but yeah, check that out if you can. The first episode is on rejection, which is something that at least for me as a comedian, I deal with literally all the time, and it's really good. Erin has some amazing insights into it, and we haven't decided on the release schedule yet, whether it's going to be weekly or bi-weekly, but I got a bunch in the can, so I think we're going to go weekly to start, and the next one is on love languages, and that one's really, really fascinating too. So, cool. All right, that's enough of that and me and shameless plugging, let's talk about our guest today, Mr. Sean Reddy. This guy is out of Hayward, California. Originally, we talk about that. So Northern California, if you're not from here. And I met Sean just doing shows. He would come down. There's a bigger act that we book all the time named Kabir Singh, and Kabir saw Sean, really liked Sean, and started taking Sean on the road with him. And Sean's progressed for where he's at right now. I mean, he's only a few years in, and he's great, man. He did a solid 30-minute set while he was here, which is pretty fucking hard. I mean, a lot of comedians that far in can do 30 minutes, but do it well is another thing. So Sean's extremely talented. Really, I mean, if you listen to the way he talks too, I was listening back to the recording today, and there's a lot of like, I guess maybe the term is like positive affirmations. It's never like when I make it. It's always, or I'm sorry, not if. It's always when. It's like when I make it, I'm going to do this. And I think that's kind of it's a great attitude to have as a comedian. A lot of times we tend to lean towards pessimism, like, oh, if I ever make it, if I ever have money, but not with Sean. Sean's got this amazing positive attitude. He's really focused, really driven. He's about to be a dad himself, and so I think that adds a little bit to it. But extremely talented. When he was up with me, because the comedians will crash with me, and I have a spare bedroom that they all stay in, and but I still kind of have to like live my life, and he stayed with me Monday night. Tuesday morning, I had a bunch of errands I had to run. One of which was like some straight up manual labor. Like I just had to do some manual labor. We have a big piece of property, and occasionally we have to like take stuff that's piled up to the recycling center, and so I had to make a run, clear out some stuff off the property, and I told Sean I was going to be busy, and he was like, well, I'm not doing anything, and I was like, man, look, this is what I'm doing, and it's going to suck, and he's like, fuck it, let's do it, and so Sean helped me take a bunch of shit to the recycling center, and we had a really fun hang. He's just a fun guy, and just a joy to talk to, and there's some fun stories that he shares. I mean, the reason this episode is so long is because we would kind of like go down. We would kind of like go down a little like tangent, and then I would just unpack something else, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy, and so we kind of we're just a little all over the place, but it's only because it's so interesting and Sean's so interesting. So cool. Without further ado, guys, let's jump in and do the damn thing. Sean Reddy. Oh, no, it's good. Don't want anybody to know about your dirty secret, your dirty Fresno secret.
Just flat soda.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. And you just pop those headphones on there.
All right.
Should have your levels dialed in.
Oh man, my hair.
Oh yeah, gets in the way.
Oh, look at this. Are
Yeah.
we live right now?
Welcome to the little podcast bubble. Yeah, we're hot, man.
Oh, I like it, man.
It's
I like
good.
it.
What was because I mean, obviously I've met you, you coming up like with Kabir and stuff, but like when was the first time you did Fresno? Do you remember?
Oh man, that was literally my first year of doing comedy. The very first time I ever did those it's called like the outdoor festival thing.
AbCal.
Yes, there you go.
You did AbCal.
Yeah, man, it was so cool. Like I met all these people who were in the little RV trailer thing.
Yeah, in the back.
Hanging out.
Yeah, the shady little like mobile home thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like they just kept giving us like wine, and I was like, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because that was my first like outdoor festival type style.
Yeah. I don't miss that show, man. It was always so stressful. Like,
you guys still do that or no?
No. We stopped. It was like because it was
probably the year that I did it. You guys probably stopped then.
Well, I think we did one more after that, and it was just because he had to sell. It was just so much hustle to like fill it up. Like you had to push so many tickets because it's like that huge outdoor space. It's like I think we got like the last one. We got like 600 people out there, and it was still not even half full. It was like fuck. Like
I'll never forget that was the very first time I met Danny Minch. And like he did another show before that one, and he was like drunk and like his I don't know who drove him or whatever, but he comes up and he just like, hey man, I love you. And I was like, thank you, bro.
It's pretty typical. Danny gets real. He's he and I, it's not really a tiff, but we're having like a little spat right now because I told you we're going up to that comedy festival.
Yeah.
And like I was like, because like, you know, it's like a festival. It's like SF Sketchfest where like, you know, they do it. It's a festival. It's one festival happening in one town, but there's venues all over the town. You know, and so like I'm performing at like 2 different venues, and Danny's performing at 2 different venues. And I was like, I think I'm just gonna take my own car. Yeah. And just so that way we're not stressing about like who needs to be where, and you know what time we'll crash together or whatever. And he's like really upset that I'm.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. That's how you know you have a true friend.
He's like, well, you're not gonna like ride with me, and I was like, well, I just think for practical purposes, it would be less stressful. He's like, no, it'll be fine. We can get to. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like,
dude, the best friendships are like legit relationships. Yeah. Where you spatter over like just stupid things.
He messaged me this morning out of the blue about it. Like he's clearly been thinking about it. Like.
He's like, so who you really driving up with?
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, it's like, no, man, it's probably just gonna be me. Like, it's fine.
Oh man,
it's so funny.
No, dude, like, man, you guys are like the pioneers of like the scene out here, man. Yeah. No, I mean, I say that because like, everyone that I know, like, they all know you guys and stuff, and like. After I did that festival, then we came out and we did I think one of the first of the Slice shows.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the first ones, and that was fun. And because we did the first show, and it wasn't like as packed, but it was like a really good crowd. Yeah. And then Danny was like, "Nah, man, like we're gonna pack it out tomorrow. Don't worry about it, guys." Yeah. And then you were there too, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, we're good to go." Yeah. And like the next day, dude, I remember you guys packed out the room. And then you guys had to remove the curtains.
Yeah, we had to pull the curtains back.
Because it came all the way back to the bar. Man, that was insane.
Yeah, it's nice when that happens. Like, and you know, I mean, when you got somebody like Kabir Singh, it makes it easy. You know what I mean? Like,
well, no, I mean, you guys packed it out. Like, it was a good crowd. Like, that's another thing too. Like, your guys' scene is small, but not only are the comics supportive, but so are like the staff, the venues, and then the crowd is super supportive.
Yeah, man. Like there's, I mean, you know, that's a big thing too when you're like looking for a venue. I mean, that's something like, that's like advice I give to people when they're like thinking about starting a show. And I mean, it's stuff I've learned from Danny, but it's basically like if you approach a venue about a new show and they are acting like they're doing you the favor by having you have the show there. Yeah. Just walk away because at that point they're gonna hold it over you, and like the moment you're gonna because you're gonna have an off night, it's gonna happen. I mean, that happened to us last night at the Chico's. Like the second that happens, they're gonna throw you under the bus.
But the 2 fans that came out was phenomenal, man.
Totally.
I mean, I'm packing it in, guys.
Yeah. So it's like if they're not looking at it like a partnership, then it won't, like the venue and the promoter, it won't work. Like it'll fall apart. Yeah. Super fast, and it's hard to find. Venues like that. I mean, obviously we have that with the Chicos. We have that with Full Circle Olympic, which is our Wednesday show. But that's not easy to find. Like, I mean, we have those 2 super cool venues, but there were probably a dozen other or more failed shows before we got to that.
But I'll tell you one thing, though. Like, if a crowd member here really likes you, they follow you, man. Yeah. Because, like, when we came out here with Miles Weber.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, there was people that saw him in Vegas.
Yeah. Saw Miles in Vegas?
Yeah, they saw Miles in Vegas, and then they were just like, yeah, we're... Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let me rewind. They saw Kabir in Vegas. They saw Miles in Sacramento. They found out Miles was here. And then when they were like, oh my God, Kabir is just coming in like randomly.
Yeah.
They were blown away because they were like, dude, like our 2 favorite comics are here. Yeah. And then like I had the opportunity to perform that night too. And then they were just like, hey, you're in the trio now. And I was like, oh shit. Like, oh, killing it.
Yeah. That's so funny, man.
That's awesome though, because like you have people here that that are fans of comedy, and they follow, man. They follow. Like that's what I call a true fan.
Yeah.
Because like social media, man, you could get like thousands of followers, but you have to look at the interactions. Those that are actually interacting with you, like leaving comments, those are true fans because they're passionate about what you do, and they want to follow that journey. They want to be a part of that journey. And that's what that is. That's why I always I mess with people all the time, like who has like thousands of fans, but they only get like 4 comments. Yeah, I'm like, you only really got 4 fans.
Yeah. No shit, right? Yeah, you see that a lot. Like, I mean, I think there's. I mean, I definitely think there's some people in my timeline that have like paid for followers. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably
of course
just like a group of people in Bangladesh that are just in a giant room full of like smartphones, like hitting like, you know, like I'm like, because it's like that's not that funny. Like, you don't. That post doesn't deserve 75 likes. You're like, what is going on here?
Well, that's why I got banned right now from on Facebook.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I've been promoting Nadia, right, my wife.
Oh
right?
yeah, the shoe thing. Yeah,
she's so she entered the Vans competition, and we're trying to get votes, and I added to like all these groups and like pages, and I reach out to each of the groups. And I'm like, hey, like, is it okay if I post this up or whatever? They're like, oh yeah, they're like, we totally support the community, the arts, and all that. So I'll post it, and we're getting votes off of that. And then Facebook saw that I was like posting like every day on multiple pages and groups, and they banned me. And then after they banned me, they're just like, oh hey, if you want to boost your post,
right, that's what they
pay
want.
$10 and you could reach out to 500 people. I'm like, I reached out to over 1,000 people by myself. Like, why do I need you?
Right.
You know, it's a free quote unquote platform.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. They want that revenue.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the name of the game as far as, I mean, because you know, we obviously deal with that with like promoting shows and stuff, because like we do the paid promotion, but then we also post it to, you know, all the different like comedy like pages and stuff. But I don't know,
you guys are killing it, bro.
Well, we're trying.
I love coming out here, man. You told me literally maybe a year and a half, close to 2 years ago, you're like, reach out to me, we're gonna book you, we're gonna have you come out. And me, I wasn't confident in my like 20 minutes, because you're like, oh yeah, we'll just have you do like 20, and I was like, oh shit. Kabir was like, dude, like, take advantage of that shit. Go out there, do it. And I was like, I don't have 20, bro. Like, I don't have it. And then last time when we came, you came up to me and you're just like, dude, fucking hit me up. And I'm like, I got 20 now. I can do that shit.
I think I just booked you right on the spot, too.
Yeah, basically.
Like, I just pulled out my calendar. I'm like, we're doing this now. Yeah, for sure, man.
You're the best, man.
And you killed it, man. You did 30 solid minutes last night. It's amazing.
Man, I apologize for running the light though.
It was a pretty loosey-goosey night. It didn't really matter. Yeah, that was so fun. I mean, in fairness to you, like, I remember lighting you at 15, and then I just kind of like zoned out. I was just watching your set, and then I was like, I better check the time. I was like, fuck, 26. Like, like it just, that 10 minutes just like disappeared. Like, I pulled
a Samuel Bade.
Yeah.
Love you, Sammy. Love you, Sammy.
Yeah.
If you hear this, I love you.
Yeah. Sammy's the best. But so you now, obviously you live. I know you live in Oakland now, but where did you grow up? Like, what town?
Well, I currently I live in San Leandro.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Which is like literally like 2 exits away from Oakland. I just say Oakland because it's the most common.
Yeah, right.
On the East Bay side, across on that side of the bridge.
Right.
I grew up in Hayward, which is really not that far from San Leandro and Oakland. I mean, Hayward's considered the heart of the East Bay, because literally, if you're on any freeway, it's gonna go through Hayward.
Yeah.
Every public transportation goes through Hayward, so it's called the heart of the Bay Area.
Yeah. What's it like growing up out there? What's your paint a picture for me? What's Hayward like as a young man growing up?
It totally changed, man, compared to what it is now to what it was before. It was a rough city. I mean, it was considered like the ghetto, you know? And I mean, like anything around that area, it was like Hayward, San Leandro, San Lorenzo, going all the way to Oakland. It was all attached to each other. So it was like, it was rough, man. Like, you know, my dad used to tell me all the time, like, don't walk around in the streets by yourself.
Oh, really?
You know, like, don't go out, you know, like it wasn't like the nicest. I mean, basically my dad, his family, when they migrated from Fiji, ended up in Hayward. And dude, he was telling me stories like when he was in high school, fucking like Asian people used to have like nunchucks in the hallways of his high school. So he was like, just imagine that shit. You have like Asian people with nunchucks, and then you have Mexican people with like butterfly knives and shit. It's like, yo, like
it's so funny. It's like there's no mass shootings. We had another mass chucking today. Dude, just walked in and started fucking swinging, bro.
Oh shit.
That's so funny.
Yeah, dude. It was crazy, man. And like, so like growing up in Hayward, it was that like. See, the funny thing about Hayward, and I know a lot of people that like grew up in Hayward are gonna get mad at what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But like, there's like this whole rifle of like West Hayward and South Hayward.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So like, and the funny thing is Hayward, in my opinion, is so small that like you could be on the same street and it goes from west to south, and you're just like, how? Like we're on the same street. Like if anything, we're heading north.
Yeah,
like,
right. Why is this happening?
Yeah, where did this shit come from?
Yeah, some weird parallel universe.
Dude, I used to make fun of people all the time. Like I used to be like, why are you like? It's Hayward. Like no one gives a shit about where we at. Like it doesn't matter, man. But yeah, man, I grew up in Hayward. Went to elementary school, middle school.
What kind of like kid were you growing up? Were you like a really good student, or were you kind of like the
dude,
bad boy? Were you the dork? What were you?
Let's see. I was the test baby. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So like, I mean, my parents, when they were together, I was the firstborn, and I wasn't really smart in school, just because, like, I mean, like, my family came from like the islands, man.
Yeah.
And like, school is like secondary, other than like family.
Yeah.
Like out there in the islands is, you share everything with everyone.
Right.
And you're living in a small, like, I guess a studio shack. With like 6 kids and shit.
And that's something interesting. I wasn't like really aware of like there being like a Punjab like community within like an island nation. Like,
well, I'm not Punjabi though.
You're not?
No.
Oh. Well, now I feel like an asshole.
I mean, you've been calling me that for the past like 24 hours, but it's okay.
Have I really? Is this new? What is this? What? Why am I a racist piece of shit? Why am I just racially profiling my friends?
I get it all the time though. It's the nose.
Really?
It's the nose. It's the nose.
And you do fucking Kabir's. What is it? The help desk show? What's his outsourced?
Outsourced comedy.
Yeah.
So all right. So Kabir is Punjabi. All right. So this is a weird thing. Punjabi is almost like Jewish people.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's a religion and
like an ethnicity.
Ethnicity at the same time.
Yeah.
So Punjabi is the same thing.
I got you.
So my family is Hindus. We're fucking Hindus.
Gotcha.
And that's the religion portion of it, but like the actual like culture of it, like the race of it, I guess you want to say, we're Indian Fijian.
Oh, interesting.
Because we're Indian people that end up in Fiji because of the British, right?
Okay.
Indentured slavery. And so we're Indian Fijian. We're not considered like Fijian because like the islanders of Fiji, which are like Samoans and Tongans and like Hawaiians, like, but they're Fijian though.
Gotcha.
They don't identify Indian people as Fijians. So they're just like, oh, you guys are Indo-Fijians.
Oh,
right?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what that is. So it's like, I'm a Indian Fijian American. So like basically my title is like my family's timeline.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
there's no bubble for that on the application.
No, like, not at all.
But
I'll tell you one thing, man. So because of my dad was being like in the military, and he's like, yo, like my son is born here. He's a American. America is the only country when you go fill out a form. There's no American bubble.
Right.
You have to hit other and write American.
How funny. Yeah.
You know, because when I'm doing shows or if I'm out and about, people come up to me, they go, oh, what are you? I go, I'm American. They're like, no, like, where's your family from?
But what are you?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, man. Like, I can't be American.
What are you? Yeah.
And that's why, like, my dad, though, like, he's, like, super, like, on the toe on that shit. Because, because him being in the U.S. military and then like me being born here, he's all about like America.
Yeah, he's fucking red, white, and blue.
Oh
man.
yeah, and like and it's so funny because like when he moved out to Tracy and like Tracy is like a super like redneck area at the time. Now it's like hella Indian people. But like we went to a grocery store one time, and this white dude was like, "Go back to where you came from." And, and my dad walked up to him, and he was like, "Excuse me," and the guy was like, "Go back to where you came from." And my dad was like, "You go back where you came from." And he was like, "What?" He was like, "I'm American," and right. And my dad was like, "No, you either came from Europe, you're European technically, British, all that shit." He goes, "Learn your history. You're either Irish, Scottish, or British, or something overseas." He was like, "Native Americans were here before all of us, so you need to go back where you came from." And the dude didn't know what to say, bro. Yeah.
Good for your dad, man.
Oh, my dad's very outspoken. It's the funniest shit. He doesn't know how to fight, but he's very outspoken.
Yeah, he'll tear you a new one. That's great, man. And so cool. Yeah, you're growing up out there. You're out in the mean streets of Hayward. You're doing it.
Yeah.
And then you're like a so student. Where does I know because you and I have both done sales. We were talking about sales last night.
Yeah, man.
We were talking about, you even like knew the weird sales thing I was telling you about, like don't be the first person to talk. Like
I'm a jack of all trades, bro.
And but where for you, like where does the comedy come in? At what point do you? Because you started a little later too. Like I started when I was 30. When did you start?
I started. Let's see, I'm 3 years in, 29. 28, 29.
Gotcha.
Growing up, love comedy, bro. Used to watch Comedy Central, BET, Comic View, all that. I knew I loved comedy from the beginning. I just didn't know that it could be a career because, and this is the biggest thing that I promote to like the youth is anything could be a career, right? Because we're in a country where literally, as long as you're paying your bills, is technically a career. You know. But the thing is, we're taught to do our 9 to 5. You want to have that cubicle. You want to have foundation, what they call it, stability, right? And it sucks because like when you're in a preschool, they do like a little bring your parents to work day or whatever, and then or like school or whatever, and they ask you as a kid like, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And you're like, "I want to be an astronaut. I want to be this. I want to be that," and they motivate you for that. But it's not until you go to high school where they're like, all right, you're about to go to college. You need to figure out what you want to do. Yeah. Fuck the astronaut and all that other shit, Right. So they teach you, like, basically they mold you for what your society is, which is like, business, accounting, you're doing sales, you're doing all that, like,
marketing, all that.
Marketing, learn digital design and all that type of shit. Like they mold you to do specific things. And that's why I love comedy, because we're outside the box. You know, and then and people in comedy are super supportive. Of course, I mean every organization or every thing has a negative person here and there. But at the same time though, so comedy for me was like, man, like I would love to do that. I just never knew how to get into it though. Yeah, right. Because you can't go to school for it. Right. Your school is an open mic.
You can take a comedy class, I guess, but
don't do that. don't do that. Yeah. I have multiple friends that did that, and I'm like, I'm on the same level as you, and I didn't pay that much money.
Yeah, that's real, man. I mean, I don't know.
What are they going to teach you? To be comfortable on stage?
I mean, I've met
get up enough times, you'll fucking get comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, shit. Are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. You're good. It's rated mature. I put it in the adult content section of iTunes.
The HBO.
This is hard hitting. Fucking
soft porn.
Yeah. It's a fucking Sopranos right here, bro. No, that's real. I mean, I've met a few comedians that. Quite a few comedians that have taken the comedy classes. I try not to shit on it too hard.
Oh, I shit on it.
Do you? I mean, it's like I guess it's kind of like what we were talking about last night. It's everybody kind of has their own journey, and I guess for some people that's taking a comedy class. So I don't know. I mean, I get it, and it's not anything I believe in or would recommend to anybody, but I do try to be nice about it at least.
Yeah, man. No. I mean, you got support no matter what. Yeah. I mean, we're all, like I said, we're all in the same thing, man. We're all in the same boat. We were just trying to make it. We all have our different journeys to the top, but at the same time, though, the goal is just to be at the top. Sure. So pave your way. That's why I love. Man, it's weird, man. I look at logs. Oh man, I don't know if this is like a high tangent or some shit, but. I look at logs and I see termites, how they carve. And at the end, if you really pay attention, they all end up bumping into each other eventually.
Yeah. Like crossing paths,
you know,
and end up.
And
in
it's
the same,
like, damn, they all started at different parts of the log, but like they like, and you see the journey because they're eating their way up, right?
Right.
And that's what we got to do. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But so like watching comedy and stuff, I just loved it. I grew up watching Tom Green.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's not a traditional stand-up comic. I mean, even though now he is, because he's hilarious. Excuse me, but watching the Tom Green show, I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to like do pranks and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then I started watching Comedy Central Presents, and that's when I got introduced to like Patrice O'Neal, Bill Burr, and then I'm a big fan of Mad TV, man.
Oh, okay.
I love Mad TV.
Yeah.
Dude, Johnny Sanchez, Ari Spears, Bobby Lee, you know, like those three alone, Will Sasso, 4.
Will Sasso,
man, I just died laughing every single time, and I loved it. I used to stay late at night just watching that shit.
Yeah.
And shout out to Johnny Sanchez, man. Like that, I met him in LA, and dude,
cool.
like I've been talking to him randomly. He's been giving me some advice here and
that's
there.
fucking rad, dude. When
Yeah,
you, like, meet
man.
your
I'm a
heroes
fan,
and
man. Like,
and they're cool as shit.
yeah.
That's good.
Like I was like, oh, you're just human.
Yeah, you're just
okay.
a regular people.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So like, I always wanted to do stand up, and then my wife and I at the time we were dating, and she was like, yo, Tom Green is coming to San Jose Improv, like let's go. And it was like a birthday gift to me.
Cool.
So long story short, it's gonna be long. I ran into Tom Green one prior time before. I ran into him at San Jose Improv, and I have a friend of mine. His name is Subliminal the Kid, and he is the 4th fastest rapper in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Holy shit.
And I'm really good with marketing. Like like I said before, like when we were talking throughout the day, if I see talent, I push it, right? And I saw the talent, and our favorite rap group is Bone Thugs and Harmony. And we totally bond off of that shit. And I ended up networking with the manager of Bone Thugs and Harmony, and got Subliminal connected with them. Like, so we went out to LA, we hung out with them.
Yeah.
You know, at their studio, and like they did like a think tank and all that. So we're on Sunset Boulevard at the studio, listening to all their new tracks and stuff that they're about to release. Turned out to be a very garbage album. I'm allowed to trash them because they banned me from their Facebook group because I was too outspoken. Yeah, they gave me the microphone because they're passing it around to all the fans, like the fanatics. Man, they're like, "Oh, we love it," and I was like, "Yo, man," I was like, "This sounds like a fucking phone ringtone."
Bah.
Yeah.
Where was this at?
This was in front of Bone Thugs on Sunset Boulevard in LA.
Wow.
And
just like at a venue or something? Where were you?
It was like their recording studio.
Wow.
It was in the conference room of a recording studio where they're recording at. They were recording while they were doing the interview, like the Q&A.
Oh, funny.
And I'm over here just trashing them.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was trashing. I was just being honest because I'm a fan.
Right.
And dude, like I got blasted by the fanatics, man. Like, they booed me, bro. They booed me. They told us
one of you.
They told us to leave our phones in the car because they didn't want no recordings to leak out. So after the Q&A, they're like, hey, if you guys want to take a photo with some of the members of the group, go back to your car, grab your phone. We go grab our phone. We're walking back. It just so happened we're walking past a comedy store. I think it's the comedy store. It should be the comedy store.
It was on Sunset. Yeah.
It was on Sunset.
Yeah.
And
sounds right.
On Twitter, Tom Green is talking about how he has this new Dodge Charger, black, and everyone's hyping him up like, oh, congratulations, blah, blah. We're walking down, and this fucking Dodge Charger pulls out of the comedy store, almost hits us, rolls down the window. I pop my head in the window. I'm like, what the fuck? Right? And I'm like, oh, shit. Tom Green? And he goes, hey, my bad, guys. Cheers. And he fucking drives off. I tweet him immediately. Almost got hit by Tom Green in the car and all this type of shit.
Yeah.
He hits me back. He was like, hey, man, good times. I've been tweeting him ever since, right? And this was like 10 years ago. He comes to San Jose Improv after the show. We're waiting in line. And I'm like, you know what? I told Nadia, I'm like, we're going to wait until all the fans go. And we're staying in line. And he looks over. He goes, hey, shit. He goes, Cousin Sean. Because that's what I was going by at the time.
Oh, right.
And that was my nickname. And everyone turned to me, they're like, you know Tom Green? I was like, oh, I guess. I mean, it's fucking Twitter. Twitter's the shit. And I met him, hung out with them, ended up meeting Butch Escobar. He was featuring for him. And then we kept going to all these shows that Butch was like inviting us to, like low-key shows. And I kept telling my wife, like, yeah, I think I want to do comedy. 7 years later, bro. she's like, you need to stop telling people that you want to do comedy. You need to do this shit.
Just do it. Yeah.
She made me promise her on my birthday to do it before my birthday.
Yeah.
I reached out to Butch Escobar, who was featuring for Tom Green at the time. And he was like, yo, go to Penelope's in Oakland. It's a small little, open mic. It won't be too like, like pressure.
Yeah.
And 99 worked on some bits. I was given 5 minutes. I only probably did 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hooked on it, man.
Yeah.
Ever since then, man.
Were you nervous? Like going up there for the first time?
Yeah, because my wife went up before me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Dude, we saw all these people tanking it.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I could do this shit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
She went up there with the idea in her head. The bit that I did that night was her bit.
Uh-huh.
She was like, hey, I got this funny ass idea. And I was like, oh, let's write it out. And I wrote it out myself, and then she corrected it. She was like, yo, this is not even fucking English.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And so we parked the car, we checked in, we signed on the thing.
Yeah.
There's people at the bar not paying attention to anything that other comics are doing. And she's like, I'm gonna sign up. She goes up before me because she's like, hey, if I tank it, then you could go up there and you could have fun too,
Yeah, right.
She did it. She sacrificed her booze for me.
Yeah,
basically.
her ego and pride.
Right.
Yeah.
She went up there and she fucking murdered.
He's like, you bitch.
Yeah.
You did this on purpose.
Yeah. You want me to fail. You don't want me to live my dreams. She fucking killed it, dude.
That's
the
so
people
funny.
at the bar was paying attention. She had a legit audience at an open mic. A legit audience at an open mic, man.
Yeah. So you gotta follow your wife who just crushed. Yeah.
Dude, I go up there and I'm like, I play off of that. I'm like, well, I guess I gotta follow my wife. And like, I forget exactly what I say. It's on YouTube and shit. And then I go and do my thing, and people are laughing, but I'm not getting the fucking applause break that she got at an open. She got an applause break at an open mic, bro. Like, she killed it, dude.
No, she did it. She won comedy. Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna come back, but you're not allowed to perform.
That's so funny. The other thing I was going to ask you about, because we were fucking around with YouTube, we realized that we're basically the same person. We watch all the same shit.
The same shit.
You're a big theme park enthusiast, and I forgot we ran into each other at Disneyland, or you saw me at Disneyland.
Oh shit!
You remember that,
dude?
I literally just thought of that right now. But yeah, I came like running off the Jungle Cruise. I had to take a shit. You remember that?
Bro, I do now.
Because you messaged me like a day or so later.
I totally forgot about that.
I forgot about that too. Yeah. I didn't see you. You saw me, and you ran past me.
All right. So first off, you did run past me, and I wasn't sure though. I was like, was that him?
Yeah.
And I'm all right. First off, I'm terrible with names.
Sure.
Like, I'm the worst host, bro.
Yeah.
I butcher so many names on a daily basis. So I was like, I know him. Mm-hmm. I know where he's from. I don't remember his fucking name.
Yeah.
And I spent that day looking you up on Facebook.
That's so funny.
I do thank you posts all the time. That's what I'm known for.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mean Dave, for pulling me out all the time or calling me out all the time.
Yeah.
So I went back through all my shit, and I finally fucking found you. And I was like, that was him. Yeah, I was like, holy fuck, it's fucking Dave.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Man.
You had your daughter with you, right?
Yeah, we were there for her birthday. I just went up for her mom took her up. They were going to be there for like 3 days, and I just went up for 1 day.
Yeah.
Disneyland's super expensive.
Hell expensive.
And surprised her.
That's
she wasn't expecting me.
Oh my God. I'm so happy you brought that up. I totally forgot, man. Holy shit.
We were on the Jungle Cruise, and I was like, I gotta go right now. And just ran off that shit right into
that fucking big ass thing scared the shit out of you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but where'd your love for theme parks come from?
Man, growing up, man, like as a kid, my dad did two things that really like helped me out. Mm-hmm. And my mom tried too, man, which was like just trying to get me out of the environment, you know, because they all have like family. Like I have cousins and uncles and shit that's like in that either in the gang life or the drug life or shit like that, you know. So it's like they didn't want me going down that path at all. Yeah. And so like my dad used to just like take me out, like. we went to Disneyland together for like the longest time, just me and him. And then he got remarried, and then so it was like me, him, my stepmom, and then and then my stepmom ended up having like 2 other kids, right, which is my half siblings. I have a sister and a brother, and we always used to just go to Disneyland all the time. And then my mom, she was struggling, she was just a librarian, barely making minimum wage and shit. So she would try to take me out places. So we ended up going to like Disney on Ice and shit.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Yeah.
And I'm a big fucking Belle. Like, I love Belle, right? Like, so Belle, like, like the Beauty and the Beast and shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that princess.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
I fucking love her, dude. She's a cartoon, but man, I will rub one off to her anytime. So my mom takes me to Disney on Ice. And they had these snow cones, and she's like, "Hey, you want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want a snow cone." And she's like, "Which one would you want?" And there's the Beast. So like, I don't know if you remember like the ending of Beauty and the Beast, or no, I'm sorry, not at the end. Like in the middle of the movie where Belle has like that golden costume, and like the Beast is like he's still a wolf or whatever, and he has like that blue tux.
Yeah. And
so like they had the Beast and they had the Belle, but if you flip them upside down, they become a snow cone.
Oh, cool.
Right? So it's like, it's like a weird shit. So I was like, I want Belle. And then she was like, you don't want the Beast? I was like, no, I want Belle. And I thought about it. I was like, yo, this predicted me for the future.
Yeah.
Because at least I know I'm not gay because I ate out Belle first.
Yeah. You fucking ate that shit, bro.
I ate her. She was cold. I ate her. Fucking lick that shit up. And it was cherry flavor. Popped a cherry.
That's so funny. Yeah. Because like in Northern California, what theme parks? You guys had like Great America, right? Like
Great America and Six Flags Marine World.
Oh, got it.
Or it's called Magic Kingdom now. Or I don't know what. I think it's called that. But it was Marine World first before Six Flags bought it. They promoted animals and they promoted like species and shit like that. So no roller coaster, nothing. It was just strictly like a zoo, but with water animals.
I think edutainment.
Yeah, it was dope, dude. It was, man, it was fire, man.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, man, like
it was just kind of like a nice bit of like escapism from like the harsh Hayward reality. Yeah. I mean that makes sense. Yeah, it's cool that your parents had the like insight to like do that and
well, excuse me, a lot of it, I mean, like I said, man, I had a lot of family members that are part of that lifestyle,
right?
And they just did not want me. I was a very low-key kid. I was a really observer, and I think that really helps out with comedy.
I think so too. Yeah. I think you kind of have to be, I was thinking about it today too, like you have to be like kind of like an empath too as a comedian, like to really like find those bits that everybody relates to. I think you have to like really like understand and feel for people to like find the funniest bits.
Dude,
so yeah,
like when I went to New York, man, I went with my grandfather before he passed away, and he was old as shit, and so he would just only last until like afternoon, and then he would go to sleep, and then I would go and basically just walk around New York and just seeing the people out there and then observing. Like I sat in the park. I sat in like in that, what's that famous park that's like
Central Park?
Central Park.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna probably ruin this shit. But it was I don't know if it was Central Park or it was a park where the ferry left to go to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
I said, hang out over there. Dude, at lunchtime, you have all these business people. They look like business people. And then they'll open up all the briefcase and they have bootleg Rolex watches. They have ties. They have like all this bootleg shit, DVDs, CDs at the time, before we had all this digital media.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there just watching like, holy shit, like this is a living. And then like like 45 minutes in, they'll clap all their suitcases up.
Yeah.
And you're just like, hey, like, can I get a Rolex? They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. They're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
bro, like you don't even work in any building. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like, yeah, man, it was a trip, man. Just like observing that.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, dude.
That's wild. Yeah.
But like observing, like that was the thing. I was a kid that used to just like, I won't participate in a lot of shit. If people are like, hey, you want to, hit this or you want to do this or whatever, I'm like, nah, it's cool. Like I'll watch.
Yeah.
Like we'll go to parties and people are playing like Madden. I would never play Madden. I would just like watch because I thought it was fun. I love watching. And it's weird. It's like a stalker style, I guess, but
it's all right.
But that helped with comedy though, man.
Yeah.
Because I write down all these ideas and it's like outside the box. You know, like you don't realize this type of things, you know? So like that's where like I think comedy really paid off because I've been observing ever since I was young.
Right.
And I get to now use it as material now, you know? So it's awesome, bro.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's great. I mean, you're Sean Reddy.
Yes, I am.
And this is
it's about time. It's 36 minutes into this podcast,
Fuck yeah,
and you finally introduced me. Thank you so much.
That's how we do it. You're Sean Reddy. This is a podcast called Sad Dad. This is where we get like we talk about each other's. And you have a dad. You've mentioned him a couple of times now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, technically, we all have a dad.
Yeah, sure.
But do we spend time with them?
We're asking big questions. That's what we're doing
I like
today.
it. Dig in, man. Dig in.
But yeah, I usually like to start at the beginning when it comes to the dad stuff. So, where did your dad grow up? I mean, you kind of mentioned it, I think, already.
Yeah. So my dad grew up in Fiji, in the islands. He was born there. Him, his brother, his sister.
Yeah. What's that like?
Oh, it's rough, dude.
Is it?
Well, you know what? I wouldn't say it's rough. I mean, being American is considered rough, but if you grew up in that lifestyle, then it's just a life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the same shit. Like we Americans ooh and ahs when we see people eat like crickets, which is high in protein.
Yeah.
But then that's not in our culture. Like we didn't grow up like that. But then you have Indonesian people or like other people that do grow up with that, and it's just like, it's protein, like whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing. It's like that's why I always mess with people all the time. It's like, well, you didn't grow up like that, so it's like that's why you don't understand it. You have to understand people. But so like my parents, like they both grew up in Fiji. They both did. My dad, his dad, my grandfather moved out to America. He worked like 3 jobs, but in the islands, he was part of the government agriculture. So he used to work like with like the agriculture over there. But he moved out here. He became like a janitor for like hospitals and shit, and he was like working other jobs and whatnot. And then my dad was out here in his high school days. He moved out here. Ended up going to a high school in Hayward, and then also ended up going to a high school in Union City, which is James Logan High School, which I ended up going to. So my dad was like, holy shit, like I fucking went here. And I was like, cool. What? Like I didn't know that shit. My dad's a very low-key person. He doesn't explain anything to me. I guess most of our dads are like that. Like they don't want to like tell.
Quiet, little reserved.
Yeah, they don't want to tell their experience. Until now, like now that like I hang out with them a lot more, and we go have like breakfast and shit together, and I just ask him questions, man.
Yeah. Do you know what kind of kid he was like growing up? I mean, was he?
Yeah, mischief, man.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you're in the islands. Like, what the fuck? He dared his brother to jump through glass.
Jeez.
Yeah, and my uncle did. Yeah,
that's a tough one to explain to mom.
Like, and my dad got his ass beat. He got his ass beat. I mean, you're in the island, man. Like, there's no roads, there's no nothing.
Right, you're trying to keep each other entertained. Yeah.
Yeah, you're walking to school in the dirt, in the rain. I mean, like, dude, like the island lifestyle, people don't understand. Like, we haven't made it in America. Like we really do. That's why I get mad like when people protest. I'm like, dude, travel. see like, you know, Patrice O'Neal said it perfectly. He's like, so what? I have to deal with some racist person. So what? Because when you travel, there's a lot more than just racism out there. I mean, like people are getting killed and getting tossed in the fucking sugarcane fields. You know, like people end up missing. Corruption in the government is beyond what we have here.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate what we have. Like, I have the luxury to drive around where other countries, I mean, shit, dude, you can't. Like, you can't do anything. You know, like, you're just trapped.
Right. You're
stuck in this bubble.
Sure.
You know, like, I don't remember you remember this episode of Goosebumps. I'm dating myself here. But there's an episode of Goosebumps, because I hate reading. I used to just watch the episodes. And there's one where this family goes out to the snow in the cavern, and they're hanging out there. And then they realize that the further they get out, they end up hitting this wall, and they're just like, "What the hell?" Turned out they're in a snow globe this whole time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it was like, you know, when you're on the island, you're in that snow globe.
Yeah,
you don't know how big the world is.
Sure, because I think there's like a weird like romantic idea about like island life. You know, I mean, it's kind of like
because of Hawaii.
Well,
Elvis Presley ruined everything. He ruined all those movies and songs about Hawaii. Nothing like it.
Sure. Dude, you know what I think of every time somebody says Fiji? I always think of the Truman Show. Did you ever see the Truman Show?
Yeah, because he wanted to go to Fiji.
Because it's the farthest you can go before you start coming back.
Okay, I appreciate you saying that because most people think about the apple. I'm like, that's Fuji, bitch.
Yeah, there's a fucking U in there, man. Come on.
Man, it's like the film role.
Yeah. That's
you guys
so
remember
funny.
films?
Yeah, you guys remember film? Yeah. But yeah, okay. So what was it that prompted him to come to the United States? Did you say agriculture? Is that
my grandfather? So my grandfather just wanted a better life.
Gotcha.
So the goal back in the day was to make it to America, the country of freedom. Mm-hmm. And then, unfortunately, like most families, from my experience, you come to America and it's just like it's the worst, man. Because you get introduced to a lot of shit. I mean, think about like my grandfather. Has 3 kids. You know, a daughter that got spoiled with money. My dad, he's the middle child, so he got no love. And then the youngest brother got into drugs. You know, just like heavily into drugs. Where in Fiji, you don't have that drug problem. I mean, you smoke weed and they consider that a drug, but weed just grows. Like you could walk into a fucking stream and there's like weed just there. You're just like, what the fuck? Like,
I guess I'll smoke this. I got something to do this afternoon.
Let me just pluck it, wait an hour or two, and then let it dry a little bit, and just fucking smoke it. But yeah, man, like my dad came out because of his family. So like basically my whole dad's family moved out to America. Yeah. And then because we're Indian, arranged marriages, and that's how my mom got arranged to my dad.
Oh, okay. So she moved from the island too, then, right?
Eventually, I mean, my dad had to go back to Fiji. They got an arranged marriage, and then he brought her here.
Oh, interesting. So he brought her over. Okay, that's wild. Yeah,
man.
How old were they when they got married?
That's a good fucking question, man. I have to ask. Oh, I mean, my dad's a lot older than my mom. It's gonna be man, his fucking Coke is giving me gas, bro.
It's all burpy.
Jesus Christ. You're sorry.
I can edit shit in post. It's fine.
I hope so.
You're fine.
Make it tight.
Yeah.
I don't know how old. I know my mom was young. She was like either in her early 20s. So because my mom had me when she was like 24 or 25. Okay. So like they were married for a while before they had me. Sure. Man, I mean that's really it. I mean like you get arranged marriage, you hang out for a little bit, and then you fucking have kids. Yeah. And then my parents got divorced.
Where do you stand on the whole arranged marriage thing? Because I've heard, because like, hear me out. Like,
I'm gonna hear you out. All right.
Just because I've had buddies.
Oh, I thought you had options. Okay.
I didn't. I had a buddy one time. He was.
Are we going over time or?
No, you're fine, dude. Okay, cool. Let's let it roll. I'm not like fucking.
Okay. I didn't know.
I mean, like I shoot for like an hour, but if we go over, it's fine.
It's gonna be a 4-hour podcast.
I know, seriously.
Because I'm interested.
We're just going with it. Yeah, it's fine. We're going with that island life.
Hey, man, bro.
Let it flow.
There's no such thing as time.
Time is a construct, bro.
Fiji time, Hawaiian time, Samoan time, Tongan time, which it is. Yeah. What the meaning is. You could drink whenever. That's all it is. That's what the island lifestyle is, man. You just hang out, bro.
My buddy was like, because he's Indian and he.
Well, all right. Oh, hold up. When you say Indian, because you kept confusing me with Punjab.
That's true.
So what is he though?
He is Punjab.
Oh, he is. He's legit Punjab.
He is. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Also, too, one thing, just another sidebar to the sidebar. I feel like Punjab weddings figured out are the best because they're the only weddings with swords. I'm
gonna correct you on something real quick. right.
I feel like more weddings need swords.
So tell me the story behind the swords. Like, what's the sword? Like, what is that?
No, man. I just was watching a video of his wedding.
Okay.
And he and his wife are both dolled up in all the, and then he's got a fucking sword. Like, I don't
Did he pull it all the way out of the holder?
No, the sword was never pulled out.
He
It was just
vanished
there.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you why. So I got in trouble. So one of my best friends growing up, Mo, his family is like they're Punjabi and Hindu at the same time. But the Punjab side is very like strict, right? And his sister got married to the Punjabi guy. So like my brother-in-law basically, because I consider my homeboy Mo as a brother. So my brother-in-law, they got married. They had all these swords at the house. And I was like, oh shit. So what you can do is kind of like how they do like in ninja movies where like you just branch it or brandish it, I guess. I forget the word.
It's kind of like pull it out a little bit.
You pull it out a little bit, you show the symbol.
Yeah.
Well, I took it out all the way out. And he got like the brother-in-law got mad at me, and he was like, "Hey, you know that if you take it all the way out, that means you have to do something.
You gotta kill somebody, bro. Oh no!"
And I looked at my homeboy. I was like, "Hey, bro, you had a good life." I was like, "Yo, hey man, it's a wrap now."
Sorry, it had to be this way.
I gotta kill something. And you're the closest to me.
Yeah, that's so funny, man.
So we had a good funeral.
Yeah. I forget where I was even going with any of that, but it's fine.
No. So you're saying?
Arranged marriages.
Arranged marriages.
He was like, yeah, my mom's always trying to like arrange a marriage for me, and at first I was against it, but he's like, bro, I'm pushing 30 right now, and like my mom has better taste in women than I do.
Yeah.
And like she'll pitch me on these women that are amazing, and they all already want to marry me. And he's like, I don't know, man. Like he was like, I thought I was too American for this bullshit, but I'm kind of into it right now. I was like, huh.
No, you know what? That's that peer pressure. That's that same pressure I was talking about earlier about like education and like your careers and shit.
Yeah.
They pressure you to be in that cubicle. Same thing with arranged marriages. They guilt trip you, man. Like I got guilt tripped, man. When I got married, like there was a moment where I almost backed out because I was like, oh, I gotta wait until my grandmother is here. I gotta like do certain family shit,
right?
You know? But my wife was like, nah, fuck that. We're getting married.
Yeah, because she's Fijian too, right?
She is, but she's Muslim.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, fucking Muslims, bro. That was fun. So, like, her thing is, me and her bond really well. Like, man, it's beautiful, dude. I love her to death.
Yeah.
Because for the simple fact that we're both religious in our own separate ways.
Yeah.
But we respect each other's religion.
That's nice. Yeah.
Where for like a lot of like elderly Muslims, they're like, you have to convert.
Right.
You have to do this. You have to do that. She was like, yo, if I don't participate like that, then why the fuck am I going to make you do that?
Yeah.
And then her thing was like, if I fell in love with you the way that you are now, why would I want to change that?
Right. Exactly.
And I'm like, thank you. Because I love pork. Even though Hinduism, they don't eat pork, but I love that shit.
That's so
fucking
funny.
love bacon.
That's great, man. Oh, dude, yeah. So your folks, your dad goes back home, brings your mom home. They get married. They're married for a few years. They have you. You come along.
Yeah.
And
I came along. I ruined everything. They got divorced.
Oh, really?
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, wow.
No. It was man. I mean, fuck it. I mean, someone's gonna read my bio one day. My dad was abusive.
Oh no.
You know, and there was something that occurred where my dad didn't trust my mom anymore. Turned out to be false from my own investigation. But they got divorced, and like it was heartbreaking because like my mom being an arranged marriage, usually when you get arranged, you're a virgin. So like this was her first true love, right? Right. But then she ended up finding love after, which was with my stepdad. And like they have the best relationship.
Oh, that's good, man.
And it's so cool. Meanwhile, my dad, he got another arranged marriage with my stepmom, who turned out to be fucking evil.
Oh no.
And I'm gonna put this in public because I don't give a shit. Yeah, bro. She used to abuse me fucking beat the shit out of me because in the Indian culture, and this is a lot of education for a lot of people that are listening right now.
That's fine, man. That's what we're here
which
for.
Which is great because you got to understand we're outside of America, how people think and react.
Yeah.
So in any culture outside of America, or actually, you know what? I would say this is more like an animal instinct, which is you want to have a boy, right? Because the boy continues the bloodline, supposedly.
Sure. Carries the family name and all that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All that bullshit, which is extra shit, right? And I mean, even if you have a female, the blood still continues, but it's because the last name doesn't continue. Right. Which is stupid. Yeah. And that shit occurred since the Egyptian era, because you want to have a boy. Well, I was my dad's. My mom gave my dad his first boy, and my stepmom fucking hated that shit because she was like, "I want to give you your first boy."
Sure.
You know,
okay.
Their first kid ended up being a daughter. So my sister, and she fucking flipped.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and so that's why me and my dad were so highly involved in my sister's life. And then she finally ended up having a boy, the second kid, and she fucking adored him, like, you know, like beyond belief, which is fine. But at the same time, though, because I was the first boy, she was like, "Yo," like she told all my siblings, "I'm not her brother. I'm not their brother."
Ooh.
Yeah, she was like, she puts it out. But my little brother, God bless him, because he was like, "Nah, that's my fucking older brother."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he was like, "Who the fuck are you to tell me that's
right.
not my fucking brother?"
Yeah.
Dude, he used to go around the whole town of Tracy and tell everyone, "I have an older brother."
Yeah.
He used to get in like fights and shit, and he's like, "Yo, if my older brother finds out, he's gonna fuck you up."
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he used to tell me all this shit. And then like I used to pop up randomly to games and because my brother plays soccer and tennis and my little sister played softball and soccer.
Yeah.
I used to pop up and then he'll like grab my hand and he'll parade me.
That's so
He would
cool.
be like, "This is my brother," and everyone's
yeah.
like, "Holy, what the fuck?"
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you legitimately have a brother. Like they thought he was full of shit. They thought it was an imaginary friend or some
How
shit.
funny.
I
Yeah.
popped up and man, he used to parade me,
Yeah. What's the age difference between you and your brother?
bro. Huge, man. So let's see here. Me and my sister were 10 years apart.
Oh, wow.
And then me and my brother were 12 years apart. And then my mom ended up getting remarried, having my little sister Shauna, and we're 14 years apart. So
Oh, wow. Yeah,
those
yeah.
3 siblings are 2 years apart from each other.
Sure.
And I'm fucking decades, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
or technically a decade.
Uh-huh.
But I treat them all like I seen how my parents are with their siblings, and I was like, I'm gonna talk to my siblings day and night. Like I want that relationship, and I
Yeah.
get very emotional off that shit because like family is big for me.
Sure.
We have a small family here in the Bay Area,
Yeah.
and that's all we have. And I reach out to all my siblings all the time as much as possible. And I mean, they're all teenagers, they're all adults now, they all do their own thing. But I reach out, bro. Like I
Good for
have
you,
to,
man.
man.
Yeah.
You know.
That's great.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have an older brother, and then I have a younger brother who passed away. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was a middle child too.
right.
But what's the relationship like between your dad and your stepmom now? I mean, are they mellowed out now that the kids are older, or like?
Yeah, no, they're dope, man.
Yeah.
Dude, my stepmom changed, man.
Yeah.
She became like I told my wife, I was like, dude, I hate to say this, man, but out of all of our parents, I think my stepmom is gonna be the best grandmother.
Oh, that's cool.
I truly believe that because when we go now, she is like so humble. She hugs me.
Yeah.
She fucking touches me. Not sexually, but like she like
Sure, no,
you know?
yeah. Yeah.
She like hugs me. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
She touches me emotionally.
Yeah,
Like,
emotionally.
oh.
Yeah. Yeah, like she hugged me. I was like, what do? I whispered to her. I was like, what the fuck are you doing right now? Like, fuck off
Like,
me.
you hated me.
Yeah. But like,
glad they mellowed
but
out,
I
yeah.
understand, like, you know, like, because like in the island culture, man, like they don't mature like as quickly. And I think in the islands they mature in their 30s. Like they finally realize what life is. And my stepmom,
Did your stepmom come over from Fiji also?
they all came from fucking
Yeah,
Fiji, bro.
I mean, I guess maybe if you're like this young Fijian woman who's like just come over.
Yeah.
Like you're in this arranged marriage. You're in a new place in a new house, and there's this other kid there, and you're just trying to like do your. I guess there's probably a lot of like pressure on her.
Well, because you don't know who the kid is.
Yeah, right.
And I totally get that.
Yeah,
I really get that shit.
Yeah.
Because she was like, ew, this kid could be a fucking maniac, which I became a maniac.
But she was probably at the time maybe like 23, 24, 25.
Yeah,
or
and
something.
she doesn't know how to have a kid.
And like think about how dumb we were at 23. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I was an idiot in my early 20s.
I was still finger painting. What the fuck you talking about? Jesus Christ, bro.
So yeah, it's like I mean, like I hate to play like devil's advocate, but at the
I mean,
same
you
time,
are.
too,
I don't think we could be friends after this.
it's just like get out of your house, Dave. Okay.
Get out of your house.
Like, all right, Sean. See you later. I guess I'll see you at the show tonight.
I mean, I guess I'll go set up. You're still headlining, right?
Yeah. You still do it? Okay, cool. Awesome. I'll go hang out.
I don't want to Heston Future and fucking headline.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hang out at this Italian restaurant for the next 5 hours. So see you. Cool. Well, I mean, but that's good. It's a nice little like happy ending. As far as
No, man. Like, I made a like a full blown initiative. I interview all my parents now.
oh, funny.
I go because like the past 3 years, I would say past 5 years, I experienced a lot of death in the family.
Oh.
So it's like, man, like, life is short, but sometimes it's shorter than others.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to know the history. Like I like my dad never told me anything about himself at all until now. Like I sit down and I interview the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, how was military? How was life before the military? What did you do like after the military?
What branch of the military was he in?
He was in the army.
Was that part of like his like quote unquote like Americanization? You know what I mean? Like he's like
No, what it was my dad being the second child, my aunt was spoiled as fuck. My what is that? Is that the AC? Is that what that is?
Oh
Or the
no,
fan?
that's my refrigerator.
Oh.
You really can only hear it because of the microphones.
Oh, okay, cool. I was like, what the?
Because like when you're normally
It
just
went
sitting
off like
here-
4 times already. I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's my loud ass refrigerator.
no worries. So, where was I? Oh, so like, so my, man. So my aunt, she's, I think I fucked up earlier in this podcast. My sister is my aunt is the youngest, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
So it's my uncle Peter, then my dad, and then my aunt.
Oh, okay.
So what was the question again? What the?
What branch of the military?
Oh, so branch, yeah. So my dad joined the military because he was the middle child.
Okay.
So like the older brother, he was spoiled because he was the first. Mm-hmm. Then my dad was born, and then the youngest sister was spoiled because she's the youngest.
Sure.
So
And
my
a girl,
dad
yeah.
felt like he got no love. And so he was like, fuck it. He was like, I'm going to just join the military. So he didn't even tell his dad he joined the military.
Huh.
So after high school, instead of walking the stage, he was like, fuck walking the stage. He was like, what does that even mean? Like, does that mean anything?
Wow. Yeah.
And he
Your
was
dad's so punk rock. I
oh,
like
yeah,
it.
really. Yeah. Dude, best story right here. Funny story. So whatever he saved up, he bought like fucking just clothes, like Levi jeans. Levi was the shit back in the day, right?
Uh-huh.
He gets stationed in Colorado.
Okay.
It happened to be winter, cold as shit, snowing. He walks off the plane. He's wearing Levi everything, and Levi buttons is metal. It's touching his skin. It's cold as shit.
Cold. Yeah.
What he had left over in savings, he went and bought a fur coat. He spent his whole money on this one coat.
This is fucking lavish ass fur coat.
He looked like a pimp.
This is
He just out here.
like a Canadian pimp. This fucking Canadian
In
tuxedo.
fucking Colorado. Dude, like, when he told me that, I was like, are you retarded? He was like, dude, I didn't know. He's like, I come from fucking Fiji,
yeah,
bro.
it's just practical, man.
He was like,
yeah.
you come from Fiji, from the islands to California, where there's no snow.
Right, and then
You don't even know what snow is, and then you get stationed in Colorado, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah. This is bullshit, man.
he's like,
Snow is bullshit.
I thought the ice age was over. Like, what the
Yeah, that's so funny. Ah, dude, man, this has been super fun. Let's bring this thing in for a landing. This is the part of the show where I ask for like a dad anecdote. We were talking about this earlier. It's usually like a favorite story you like to tell about your dad. You just told a really funny one, but you got one more in the chamber. You feel like do you have like the ultimate dad story that you like to? I know there's a bit you do, but you don't have to do your bit on my podcast.
I'm gonna do the bit.
Fuck yeah! All right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the real story behind the bit.
Okay.
So basically, when I was a kid, I was trying to like talk to my dad a lot and just like figure out who he was and shit. And from his past photos, I knew. All right. Oh, so like I said before, we went to the same high school. So I want to surprise him, and I went to the library. I went to the library, and I went to go find the yearbook that he was in, and my dad is so secret. I don't even know how old he is.
Oh wow!
Right, like he never told me how old he was. Excuse me. So went to the library, and I was like, I need all the yearbooks, and they were like, well, like what yearbook are you looking for? I was like, look. I'm 16. My dad has to be in his 30s. Like I just need like a large reign. So this librarian comes out with like 30 some yearbooks. She's like, here's fucking everything basically.
Yeah.
So we're going through it, and my homeboy Mo, he goes, dude, he goes, I think I found someone that looks just like you. He's like, look at this shit. He was like, this is fucking wild. He's like, it looks like you're time traveling. It turned into my fucking dad.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy. Like, we both had long hair. We both had the same lineup and everything.
How
like,
funny.
Dude, like, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. So, like, so off of that, at the time, I was smoking so much weed. I was high all the time.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I judged him. I was like, yo, this motherfucker smokes.
Yeah, you could see it. Yeah.
I was like, yo, he's on something. And I got caught smoking weed with my cousin, and my mom fucking flipped out because back in the day, weed was like a drug.
Yeah, right. It's a big deal back in the 90s.
It's a big fucking deal.
Yeah. I'm not a chicken, you're a turkey.
Yeah.
Remember that commercial?
Oh my God. It's the worst.
Yeah.
And she calls my dad, and my dad was like, hey man, like, you know, we all done it, you know, it doesn't matter, so it's fine. I'm like, oh, you ever done it before? He's like, oh yeah, I only did it one time. And then he tells me, he goes, yeah, I did in high school. Like, because I was so high, like the guy kicked the ball and it went between my legs, and I was like, woo. And I was like, oh, okay. And then English class, they wanted us to write an essay about something we regretted. But we need references. And I was like, oh, you know what? I was like, I kind of regret smoking weed at the time, you know, because I got in trouble. And I was like, let me ask my dad for a reference. I was like, hey, Dad, I was like, can you tell me that story again so I can write my essay? He's like, oh, cool, yeah, fuck yeah. He's like, yeah, man. So like, I was in the military, and we're smoking weed. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like,
that's
wait,
not the story you told earlier.
yeah. I was like, what? And my dad was like, hey, man, we're in the fucking military, man, just getting high, man, just fucking all the time. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, yo, I didn't want to embarrass him. I was like, oh, okay, the military. So I wrote that shit out. And then like we're hanging out, and we're like talking about like cannabis and all this type of shit. And I was like, Dad, you ever like smoke weed? He's like, man. He's like, dude, he's like, man, he's like, you know, like Uncle Peter, right? Like my brother. I was like, yeah. He's like, dude, he's like, he got me high. So like, he got me high, really high. And I was like, Dad, I was like, this doesn't add up to like the fucking high school soccer, the military shit that you told me about, and now you're telling me it's like Uncle Peter. And my dad was like, well, that all happened the same day. And I was like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? I was like, it's fucking bullshit, man. Like,
that's so funny, dude.
Dude, I'll never forget that shit.
What does he think of you doing comedy? Has he ever like watched you perform? Or
you know what? He's so first off, he's super supportive. Actually, it's weird. It's so fucking weird. He grew up watching Cheech and Chong. That's another reason why I knew that he was a stoner.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I discovered Cheech and Chong by myself, and I'm like, Dad, I was like, you gotta watch the DVD. I played it. It was Cheech and Chong Up in Smokes. Me and him watched it together, and he laughed so fucking hard. And I was like, you fucking smoke weed. I fucking know it, man.
Yeah.
So I do comedy, and the first year I didn't invite no family to any of these showcases.
I get that, man. Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And none of that. And
you don't want to bomb in front of your mom. Like, that's the worst. Yeah.
That's a good rhyme, actually.
Yeah.
And so finally I got to a level where I was like really good. And I invited my dad. I invited all my siblings. They all came out. And my dad tells me, he goes, hey, man, he goes, you're not going to like roast me on stage, right? I was like, of course not, man. Like, why the fuck would I do that? The whole 10 minutes, I roasted my dad. I did the weed joke that I do. And man, I looked over and he put his head down. He put his hand on his forehead. He was just like, what the fuck? And he's like, holy shit. And then at the end of my set, I was like, and if you guys want to know if this story is true or not, that's my dad right there.
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, fuck. Yeah. And then he liked it. You know, like he had a good time. He didn't laugh at anything that I said. And then I invited him to another show where I roasted my mom. And he had a ball.
Suddenly it's hilarious.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, fuck that bitch. Like he had a ball, man.
That's
and
funny.
like he hugged me and shit.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing about my dad, though. My dad doesn't like saying I love you. Like that's soft to him.
Sure.
So every time I hug him, I whisper in his ear, I go, I love you.
Aw.
Yeah, and
that's
then
nice.
And he goes, what? That's all he does. He just, okay.
Hey, you know what? The important thing is you're doing your part. You know what I mean? Like, he'll meet you halfway eventually, I'm sure. You're going to be a dad, bro. That's wild. Like, where are you at right now with that? Like, tell me.
Man.
Because she's, what, you were saying 8 months pregnant?
Yeah.
It's gonna happen so soon.
Yeah, my wife is going to pop pretty soon here. It's interesting, man. Mm-hmm. It's a different chapter in my life, man.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm excited and nervous at the same time because like being a comedian, I already told my wife straight up, just because I've been listening to a lot of different podcasts of other famous comics.
Yeah.
That had kids, you know, like at that time that when they're building. Like Bert Kreischer and Joe Coy.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Coy has a story about him going to like the Laugh Factory and having his kid being babysit by like Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah.
You know, and so I told my wife straight up, like, look, like I'm gonna try and make this happen, but maybe the first 3 years of our kid's life, I may not be there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, and that's the most critical time.
Right.
But that's the thing about being team, man. Like, she's such a team player. She's like, yo, like, I know how to read. And I'm like, thank God, because I don't. And she was like, I'll read to the baby. I'll do is whatever I can. And it's a trip, man. Like, I can't wait. Like, because my dad was so highly involved in all of our lives. Like, me, my sister, my brother. She took him to all the practices, he took him to all the practices. Took him to every single event that's possible. And I want to do that too, but I got to be in a certain level in comedy in order to do that, you know? So it's a grind, man. Like, I'm pushing harder than ever. It's definitely a motivation tool.
Yeah. And
at the same time, man, I'm excited, dude. Like, cause fuck it. I'll just have my wife work. And I'll be there with the kid. And every time my wife and I argue, I'll tell the kid, like, hey, who was there? Who was there when you was growing up? And he's like, you, daddy. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you goddamn right.
Remember that when you're picking out a retirement home for me.
No, man, it's a blast, bro. Like, I'm excited, man. I'm like, that's different, dude.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
like how is it for you though? Like being a comic, and I mean, your daughter's like what, 9 years old now?
Yeah,
so it's like,
she's gonna be 9. Yeah.
How do you balance that out?
I mean, there's a lot of guilt. I'll be honest. Like, there's a lot of guilt. Like,
you miss out though, right?
Well, I mean, it's. I mean, sometimes too. It's like, I'm missing out on time with my kid to do this like ridiculous thing. You know what I mean? Like comedy. Yeah. Is ridiculous. Like this is like a silly thing that we do, and it's like you're missing out on your kid and time with your kid to go tell dick jokes. Like you're like, ooh, like that's heavy, man. And it's like, but
Yeah, no, that's real talk, man.
and so it's like, so I mean, it is tough. It is like there's a lot of like guilt, and you just kind of have to hope that you have like the right support system, and hopefully the kid understands, like, you know.
Well, let me ask you this: like your ex, does she support the whole comedy?
Yeah,
thing?
she's super supportive. We co-parent super well, and so yeah, I mean, she.
So that's good though, because
Yeah.
like that's the thing. So she understands your journey basically in comedy,
Right.
and she's willing to take that sacrifice to be like, yo, I'll take care of our daughter.
Yeah.
While you're pursuing this, because at the end run, man, like when you make it, bro,
Yeah.
like when we all make it to that top, like how I was saying earlier about that termites and shit,
Right.
we're all gonna cross paths in the top.
Yeah.
When we make it though, everyone retires, bro.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, oh yeah.
Everyone.
When I make it, I will absolutely pay off the mortgage of their house. Like her and her
Dude.
husband, like my daughter's stepdad. I'm like,
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah. What? Okay. Well, your mortgage is
Dude,
paid
we're
off.
gonna gamble with her husband. Like, think about that.
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, we have so much money. Like, fuck it, let's play some craps.
Yeah.
Like, let's
yeah.
just go ahead.
Yeah. Whatever you own your cars, I'm gonna pay that all out. You know what I mean? So
I'm the same way, man.
Yeah.
I'm the
It's-
same.
I'm
fucking
definitely
way.
gonna take care of like the people that supported me.
Dude, I mean, yeah, you have to. I'm like, even though like they're like, I don't know how to say it, but like they're outside of the family. You still got to take care of them because they did something that they were like you were supposed to do.
Right.
But they're doing it. But at the same time, you're like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna take care of everyone, so that way I support everyone.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, though, it's like, man, like we all came up together.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what matters, man.
Totally, 100%. So, I mean, yeah, man, it's
awesome,
gonna
bro.
be a wild journey. I mean, I know I was telling you last night, like kids are just the bottomless source of material, man. They're everything about
Dude,
a kid.
do that on stage, man.
Every kid is so fucking funny. Like, I mean, most 3-year-olds are funnier than every other adult you're ever gonna meet. Like, they're just
for sure.
because they're just so uninhibited in like their observations and understandings of the world. Like, and it's so good. So
Yeah.
you're gonna love it, man. I think you're gonna be a really good dad.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
I think you got your head in the right spot. You're goal oriented. Like, you know, I mean, like, yeah, you're doing a crazy thing, which is comedy, but at the same time too, you're approaching it from a real stable, you know, like real, like I said, goal oriented.
Hey, man, we talked about it earlier. Which
You're great
was,
at networking. Yeah.
Well, we talked about which was the whole like retail, like the car sales.
Yeah.
You know, the last one, you know, like the first one to talk. You know, like,
I'm trying not to talk right
yeah,
now.
I'm gonna say my punchline. I'm gonna wait until someone giggles.
Yeah, we're gonna sit here until.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand here until like, I don't know, 30 minutes. Fuck it, I don't give a shit. Like,
That was funny, motherfuckers, and you're gonna laugh. Yeah, it's so funny. Ah, dude, Johnny, been a blast today. If people want more Sean Reddy in their life, where should they find you?
oh my man, SeanReddy.com. So that's SeanReddy.com. Then there's Sean Reddy Comedy on all the platforms. I'm talking about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz. And if you look up Cousin Sean on Pornhub, I will be there. No, I was playing.
Holy shit. Yeah, what a wild career, man. Awesome. Well, dude, thanks so much for being on today. You've been an absolute blast.
Thank you, man. It's been a blast. Man. Thank you.
And we're back. Sean Reddy, everybody. He's great. Follow him on all the social medias. He's got a big campaign going right now. His wife designed a shoe for Vans, and they're pushing to get a bunch of votes for that. Hopefully, I think the most votes gets that shoe put into production. So yeah, check out his social media. He's pushing pretty hard for that. His wife's a children's author, like a children's book author, which is fascinating in and of its own self. So cool, guys. If you could rate and review on iTunes, Sad Dad Podcast. You can get a hold of me, saddadpodcast@gmail.com. Sad Dad Facebook page if you're looking to interact a little bit more. And I think that's it for this week. I gotta figure out who my guest is for next week. I got some fun comedians that are gonna be in town, but we'll see what happens. I'll have something for you. Don't you worry. All right, guys. Adios.